Welcome back, guys, to Let's Talk Expedition Africa. Well, today I'm chatting with Bernadette Dornom, all the way from Melbourne in Australia. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, in these crazy times.
Yeah, and it's also night time there with you. Thank you for giving me some time to chat.
No problems.
Bern, we've got a wonderful story actually to tell. We've seen each other now at 2-3 actually adventure races, and I would love to share your incredible story with our friends. Now, for those who are listening in today, she's actually, we're going to speak about it later again, but she's a twin, her sister. Elizabeth is just like her. They are incredible athletes with an extensive history in triathlon. Their life, sort of the adventure racing started off, but it was first triathlon, and then it branched into adventure racing. And they now basically, Bernadette is in one of the top teams in Australia, competing obviously for the top spot. And I've just heard her sister is actually in the other top team in Australia. So it's actually incredible that from one family you have this sort of pedigree in outdoor sports and triathlon. So
yeah, I think a friendly rivalry certainly helped to spur us both on in that respect, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, and the good part of them is actually, the greatest part of this chat today is that they are formed two teams, and they will be in Lesotho next year.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We were, yeah. Certainly for this year it was going to be good, but yeah, hope to be there again next year, which would be great.
Yeah, well done. So Bern, for those of you who know Thunderbolt, you will know the name, the South African friends as well. Their first time to Africa was in the Kouga race, Cape St. Francis, and they were neck and neck racing for the top spot, and they just came in second. They had actually an incredible experience. We're going to chat about that. But Bern, first tell me, where did this whole story started of, Thunderbolt want to come and do Expedition Africa?
Well, we were racing the world champs in Shoalhaven, Australia in 2016, and this couple just kept popping up all over the course, kept talking about Expedition Africa and how wonderful it was and what to do and so on. Many of our long treks or overnight kayaking when we're trying to keep ourselves awake, we were like, Expedition Africa. And we've, known people that have done Africa and seen all the photos of the, incredible animals. None of us had ever been to Africa. And so really throughout that race, as you kept popping up in random spots, we just thought, oh, Africa, yeah. So from there, we signed up and went to Africa the next year. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and it sort of gave us a chance when we went to Africa we went across a bit earlier and did some safaris and saw, just enjoyed being in Africa, and it was amazing.
Yes, you actually had a great, you did your safaris you did before the race, correct?
Yeah, we figured after the race we wouldn't be in such a great state to be wandering around sightseeing, and we'd like to be closer to food and not be looked at as the food. So we went across early.
Yeah. Now that is actually a wonderful thing for our international teams. We always try to encourage them to extend their trip or a little bit before, and especially that Cape St. Francis area was such a great position because not very far from that. I think you went to the Adder Elephant Park and another place, but it's not far.
Yep.
It's great safaris you can do from that area.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw lots during the race. I think you and Stefan managed to pick out the best spots of that area to race through. So we felt like we saw a lot of different areas, but it was really good to go to the, see some of the animals that we don't have. And I think we went kayaking down in J Bay. So it was, an awesome destination race.
Yeah, no, that was great. Of that event, let's refresh our memories. I mean, you guys were obviously racing for to take the winning spot there. There was quite epic legs in that race. I can remember clearly. We were our biggest worry for that event as race organizers with the buffalo in that big canyon stretch.
Yeah.
And yes, how did you find that? And I think the mountain bike after that massive mountain bike over those rivers and
Oh yeah, that was spectacular. My memories for the event was that every leg had something different and amazing that you would remember it for. So there was no transit legs. Every leg had something that was absolutely amazing. The Buffalo Canyon Trek leg was spectacular, and we saw baboons, I think, running around as well. And then I think all the mountain bike legs had hills after hills after hills, especially that one afterwards. Had a lot of climbing, a fair bit of hike bike and pushing bikes through a lot of reeds as you were crossing the river again and again. Thankfully guided by, we had Hugh navigating us really well, Hugh and Leo, to get us through that quite cleanly. And then, across the sand dunes for some of the trek legs, it was just absolutely spectacular. Each leg was just sort of, something really to remember.
Yeah, no, that was really a wonderful memory for us as well. And we're so fortunate that you guys came and had a good experience and that you could be part of our, I mean, when we announced India, I mean, that was sort of the follow-up race, and the next moment I got this message from you, Heidi, we're thinking of coming to India. And how was that? Believing in us and trusting, to come and race.
We sort of watched the year before that you'd run Expedition India up in the mountains, and again, when you're looking for a destination race, India has culture and diversity and just difference in abundance. And we always know, we love doing your races, Heidi. You show us lots of love and look after us, and Stefan puts on an amazing course, so we always know there's a reason he's taking us, bush bashing through something crazy, or taking a bike up some train track that is no longer passable or something. There's always a reason that he's put us through. So the course is, and the race is fantastic. And so, when India came up and we were able to fit it in, none of us took a second, didn't take long to decide to do it. And we weren't disappointed either. It's a crazy, crazy place in lots of different ways. But, an experience for sure.
Yeah, that was I think from your side and from our side, like I said to you guys, I think I sent several emails beforehand and say, remember, when you arrive in Delhi, your adventure starts already there. Everything changes. Everything is a wheel in the deal. And just take it in your stride. There's so many things completely out of our control. And I was so surprised with the amount of top international teams that came. And everybody had just these smiles on their faces, and they took it as a complete adventure. Everybody had it in their mind that they come, like you say, for a destination, and they were open to, crazy things is going to happen, and the crazy bus drives and culture and dances, and we try to put everything in there. And that is what is so important in these events, and I think that's why we love it. It is so diverse.
Yeah, and that's certainly what India offers in abundance, is just, the crazy nature of things. And I had been lucky to had been there before, but when we first arrived, the guys had never been to India before, and it was just, jaw dropping, and their eyes were popping out of their heads. So, we went a little bit earlier and went down and saw the Taj Mahal and did a bit of sightseeing around Delhi and tried to sort of acclimatise ourselves and just prepare ourselves for the wonder of the race, just get used to the craziness of how India works, which is just so different to anything that we're used to. But I think he did well in, for all the challenges that the race posed, in managing to tame them and put on a spectacular race. And I get with a great field, and I don't think anyone wouldn't repeat that experience again.
That was great. And you also, unfortunately, Bern, you guys had a good finish there. You still came sixth, but you fell ill on the last trek. Well, obviously you started getting sick a day or two before with typical daily belly.
Yeah, I think you know, I got the full Indian experience. Like we kind of thought that might happen, and we were trying to avoid it. But you know, we've gone for the full experience, and certainly I think on the last rafting leg, we took a couple of swims, and I probably swallowed a little bit of water. And so when we went on to the trek after that, yeah, it wasn't so good for the bike, but that, you know, was pretty character building for myself and the team, just dragging me along. It just happened to be the day that we were climbing to some 3,000 metre peak temple, so that, you know, from the bottom, so that was not all you want when you're not feeling the best and struck down by Delhi Valley, but yeah, we were still able to finish, you know, sort of soldier on, which was pretty good because there were quite a few teams that, you know, had to pull out. So we were pretty impressed with that. I'm sure there's a lot of things that the team won't let me forget, but we don't really like to talk about too many of them, or won't talk about many of those things. What happens in India stays in India for some of the Delhi Valley, but it's, you know, it's all an experience. It's on your adventure racing bucket list of things to do. So I've ticked that bucket, hopefully never feel that one again.
But Bern, speaking to you, I mean, you can take so much, you know, when I do these chats with people, the most wonderful thing is like the spirit of our adventure racing family, and people, we can always see the you know, the fun and the humor in difficult and hard situations. And we always make it, and the teams and the racers always make it look so easy. You know, now in hindsight, I know how much you suffered, and your team know, and I know in Kouga as well. You know, you go through so much suffering as a team, and yet you'll sit a few months later, or when you speak to somebody, and you will laugh about it. And, you know, it's just the incredible people we encircle ourselves with, and that is so beautiful for me to see. And I know how hard it is to race at the level you are racing. I mean, I think you know, people don't know how hard it is.
Yeah, I think definitely we've all got that little bit of a screw loose, that when something bad happens, you kind of, you know, the best stories come from when it doesn't go right. Nobody ever talks about that race where you go, oh, do you remember that race where we got all the checkpoints in order and everything went really smoothly and we finished and we did well? No. Everyone remembers, do you remember that leg where I got pretty sick, or where we got lost for hours, or we ran out of food? So they're the stories that you talk about, and almost in some perverse way, as an adventure racer, you've got a bucket list of these crazy bad experiences that you kind of feel like you need to tick off to be, you know, a true adventure racer. And that's definitely what, you know, in some weird way attracts you to it, that there's lots of things that you know, hardships that you can overcome and do it again.
No, definitely. And I think that has happened with us as well over the years when we organized the events. Every year I remember, like maybe if I got back from 10 years back, I remember like the hardest things of each year. You know, it's like you said, and now I look back, and obviously this morning there came images up of our Namako West Coast race, and I was like, yo, Stefan, that was actually an incredible race, you know, well done my husband, and great job, and you know, I can appreciate it. But I mean, it's like you say, you sort of remember those challenges, and it makes you just better and better, and you go back and you tweak yourself from a racer point of view. But I think it's also, I just want to bring back one memory in my head, and that was that Shoalhaven where we actually met. You guys, it was most probably the best adventure race finish at World Champs ever, because I think our team Painted Wool came in running. I think they were 4th or 5th, and you guys were running for the 6th and 7th place. And I just want to mention this to our friends at home. Have you ever raced, I think that race was 600, how many Ks? Was it 600 or 700 Ks? The one?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, sort of 4 days, I think.
It was 600 in Shoalhaven, Australia. It's like 2 hours south of Sydney. And it's incredible, you know, the first 6 teams basically running for a position. And you guys, the last leg was, I think, was it a 20K run?
It was a track. Yeah, it was a 20K run along the beach, and it turned into a full-out sprint because there were about 4 or 5 teams that were sort of all in and around the same area, and we could see them all as you're going along the coast and, you know, rounding the corners. And we ended up, sprinting, and we were like 10 seconds behind the other Aussie team, which they will never let us forget, that they were 10 seconds to be the first Aussie team home that year. It was crazy. And we just had one of those years in all the national races, our local races, that we just had all these sprint finishes, so it was just like, not again. That one we didn't end up doing. We didn't end up coming on top for that race, for that sprint finish. But when it's been that long and you 10 seconds, you're just like, really.
It was crazy, because I know we were driving in the car and we tried to cheer and scream for everybody. It was so much excitement, you know, for us as spectators. And it was like incredible. Like you say, after 3-4 days of racing, you end up with 3-4 teams running in front of each other, and they are dying. You can see they're dying, and they're pushing each other, and they're screaming and pulling, and the strongest one is pulling the weakest one, and they can't breathe. And I'm talking about those at home now who's listening, and you do adventure racing. Just imagine that. Your last 20K trek, like on the beach, basically becomes a 20K sprint for life. I mean, the tears were rolling down my face, because it was just so incredible to see, and you are sitting there so humbly, and you know what, Bern, you guys are incredible athletes, and we admire you. You take it in your stride, and it's absolutely wonderful. And we can just thank you guys for your support, and just keep that spirit of adventure racing alive. I mean, just by chatting with you, you make my Saturday, you know.
I think the adventure racing community is excellent, and for as much as you're competing against your fellow, other teams, I think all of you at the start are competing against the course and the race directors who set, these amazing challenges for you. So you're all sort of in it together, and there's a really good camaraderie amongst that. I think, of course, obviously when it gets down to the sprint finish and the nitty gritty, then that camaraderie is lost a little bit. But you certainly, it's a great team environment within your team and amongst other teams, for sure.
But Bern, thanks for sharing your wonderful memories with us, and I know there are a million more stories, and all the best of luck for the training for the next month. And we are so excited to welcome you into back to Africa next year. And obviously you've been Googling a little bit Lesotho. Are you looking forward towards Lesotho?
Oh, we can't wait for Lesotho, for sure. We have been really excited, trying to get, lots of hill training in, so we know that it's quite hilly. We were, the novelty of some horse riding and some donkey pulling sounds amazing. I think now that it's coming up next year, we might be a little bit more prepared for how cold it might be, given that there was at the time that it was supposed to be run, there was a fair bit of snow and looked like it would have been quite brutal. So we might just have a few extra layers of clothes or be a bit more prepared for that. We did think it was going to be quite cold, but it looked like it would have been quite tough at the times that it runs. So look, we can't wait. We know that it's going to be a fantastic experience, a fantastic race. There's lots of teams that are pretty keen to be racing. So it's always fun when you catch up with teams from all over the world.
So from our side, we just want to say, keep up that training. Yes, be warned. Everybody knows Lesotho. It is sunshine. You burn yourself to pieces. And within a few hours, you basically feel like you want to die of the cold. It is, and I keep on warning it and saying it to people, there are an ice cold wind on top of those mountains. If you look at the local herdsmen and people, they have those thick blankets and balaclavas, and that's for a reason. So just look at, you can, we're actually going to go to the town where we're starting. There will be those balaclavas, and you actually can buy it in that town. And I would draw high.
We were thinking we were going to be having to barter for a lot of the locals, shawls and balaclavas, for sure. We could just imagine finishing the race, wearing the traditional garb, because we were, a bit old.
Okay. Well, thank you for chatting. I can't wait to see you guys. Keep up the training. You mentioned a little bit earlier, like I said, your sister's coming and she's racing with the all-girls team.
Yep.
So it's going to be, and there's more. There's, Craig's team, and there's Grant Peppers and their team. There's, I think, 4 Australian teams coming.
Yeah, there's going to be a few.
So it's absolute honor and incredible privilege for us to welcome you back into Africa. And we hope, like, we're going to pick you up at the airport and make everything beautiful. The Afri-Ski Resort is incredible, and it's a true African experience. It's very, very far away from your world. And I think that is why it will be special for you as well. You know, it will be, again, wonderful. Thanks so much, Bern.
Thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I think the 10-year anniversary, it's a credit to your races that there were so many people wanting to come for it. So we definitely can't wait, and waiting to catch up with you guys again, get a wonderful hug that you always give us whenever we see you out there. So yeah, all looking forward to it, training hard.
Hopefully I can give hugs by next year.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we'll have to, air high five or something.
I think everybody's going to get a hug. I'm missing you guys so much. You're going to get an extra long hug next year. Okay, Bern, look after you.
Thank you.
Keep up the training. God bless.
See ya.